How's it going, guys? And we're here to do our season projection of the Atlanta Braves. Listen, I got to say, these guys have been killing it since I have been away. Obviously, the weather in New York has been atrocious. So I'm on call and I could not be around. But these guys, if you haven't watched the previous videos of all the teams these guys have done, they have killed every video. So now I'm here. I'm finally back and I'm here to stay. And I'm here to join to talk about the Braves. I might not have maybe the greatest things to say about the Braves because I'm very disappointed in them right now, but I'll let these fellows, Ben or Joe, whichever one you want to do first. Guys, take it away.
So yeah, like as always, we start up with the lineup and then we go into the rotation, bullpen, and we finally conclude with the over/under win total for the Atlanta Braves in 2026. So yeah, starting with the lineup right here, and I'll pull it up right here for you guys to see it on the screen. Basically same lineup with a little bit of tweaks. Obviously now with the Jurickson Profar suspension, Mike Yastrzemski is going to be in left field. Currently, their DH is scheduled to be Dominic Smith. That's actually crazy. And since Hassan Kim had the finger injury in Korea, Mauricio Dubon's going to fill in shortstop. But we basically got another year of this Braves team, and we'll see what they are going to do right here. Sean Murphy will be missing time as well. I forgot to mention that. But what do you guys think about this lineup?
Obviously, the health of Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be a massive key to their success and even attempting to be a successful team. You'd like to see the offense hopefully still come from Olson and Riley. Yastrzemski's a nice left-handed bat that they could utilize. And obviously, Ozzy Albies is another guy that you got to see some production from as well for this team to be good. Michael Harris is a mainstay in center field there. Obviously, the DH spot looks a little sketchy with Dominic Smith rounding out the bottom of the order and Mauricio Dubon rounding out the shortstop position. Obviously Drake Baldwin is a highlight for them. They have a lot of positives in this lineup, I will say that. But to me, that too much has to happen on the positive side for them to have to be a good team. I think, they have to stay away from the injury bug, and they're going to have to be able to produce runs because obviously, like you said, we'll get into their pitching later and break that down. But I think for this team, they're going to have to stay healthy 1 through 9 in order to be some type of formidable or successful. And I don't think that there's going to be a lot of it for the Atlanta Braves. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think health is the biggest key for this team being able to produce in 2026.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. I think the two guys that this affects the most is going to be Acuna Jr. and Austin Riley. I don't think we've gotten a full season out of Austin Riley in about 2 years. Obviously, we know what's going on with Ronald Acuna. He's torn both of his ACLs, so we got to see how he bounces back from that. I think he should be okay, but it's obviously still a risk. Drake Baldwin coming off an amazing rookie season. Can he keep that going? Or if he goes into a sophomore slump, I don't know if this lineup will be formidable. Now, the other thing is, too, Matt Olson is a few years removed from his 50 home run season. Is he gonna ever find that form again? I don't think so. I think he's gonna be somewhat of what he's always been, that 30, maybe 80 to 90 guy at a 260 clip. Yaz, I like Yaz in this lineup. I think he's relatively consistent in what he's going to bring you. You kind of know what you're going to get. Pretty decent defense. And, listen, he's got some pop in his bat. Albies needs to put together a full season through and through of production. He gets too hot and cold. Listen, when he's on, he is amazing. But when he's in that cold spell, he looks terrible. Michael Harris is sort of the same. I feel I'm a little underwhelmed with him. He has some really big bright spots to him, and then there's other times he doesn't look the same. I know he finished the season really strong, and then to round out the end of the lineup here with Dominic Smith and Mauricio Dubon, I don't like that at all. I mean, Dom Smith has been a journeyman for the last few years. I mean, he was more of a journeyman just last season alone than most journeymen in baseball throughout their entire careers. Listen, health is going to be a huge factor to this lineup, like Jay had mentioned. Brew, I'm sure, is going to get into that as well. My biggest takeaway, though, is Acuna and Riley. If those guys miss any significant amount of time, I think the Braves are in serious trouble with their offense.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think what you're kind of seeing right now at a Ronald Acuna in the WBC, you're seeing him get his feet underneath him, which is something he needed. He needed this type of activity, competition, and I think it's going to do great for him. Like you said, Drake Baldwin, a sophomore slump would be very interesting because I think that's way possible. Matt Olson, I think, is still an all-star caliber first baseman, to say the least. Austin Riley, I think, is the X factor on this team. If this guy could stay healthy for a full year, I think this could be a very compact offense. I think it could give you dynamic every night. Ozzy Albies, I'm honestly, I think Ozzy Albies is kind of an overhyped player at this point, and that's no disrespect to him, but I think he gets a lot of more love than I think he actually deserves. Maybe he'll prove me wrong this year, but and the same thing for Michael Harris, like Mike said. I think the same thing for him. He got to prove it throughout a full year. Will that happen? We got to see. But obviously, next up, we got to get into their starting rotation. JB, if you want to go over this real quick.
Obviously, I mean, listen, their number 1 and 2 could be as good as anybody in this league, but it comes down to health again. Spencer Strider, obviously, not being able to put a full season together with a ton of injuries. And then if you look at their 3, 4, and 5, and Ronaldo Lopez, Grant Holmes, and Bryce Elder, I mean, is that really overwhelming? I think it's more underwhelming than anything to have your middle of the rotation all the way down, not being the biggest of guys and the sexiest of names, and you're really relying on Chris Sale and Strider here to really man the ship and take this rotation to where it has to go. I think if they don't stay healthy, I think it's more of a problem with the rotation than it is with the offense. I think you can kind of plug and play certain pieces with the offense there to make things work. But the minute one of these two guys goes down in the top of that rotation, you're going to see a lot of problems. And in the NL East, that's not a division where you could be injury plagued and really come out of that division being a wild card potential possibility. I don't see it. I think even if Spencer Strider, who's the most injury prone out of all these guys in this list the last couple of years, if he can't stay healthy, even with Chris Sale being at the top of his game, I don't see a lot of positivity coming out of this rotation for 2026.
Well, with Mike being muted, I'll take over real quick.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you take over.
Forgive me if I'm wrong here, but didn't every single one of these pitchers get hurt last year? All 5?
I know Bryce Elder's had some issues as well.
I know Holmes was hurt. I believe Elder was hurt. Sale missed a little time. Strider, we obviously know. Did Lopez miss any time? He's the only one that I'm missing. I feel like he did.
I think so. Yes.
So that right there tells me everything I need to know. We know the talent is there, but the health, again, it's almost the same as the lineup. The question mark surrounding their health is huge. They're obviously they're missing Schwellenbach, and he's shown flashes of he could be a top 5 in Cy Young if he's on for a full season. But he's gonna miss. I think he's missing the whole season. Am I wrong?
He'll be back in June.
That's barring no setback. Obviously, we're not rooting for that. We want to see the best talent we can in the game on the field. But overall, the fact that every single starter in this rotation missed time last year, and some of it was significant, I don't have a good feeling about this rotation going into the season. I don't have an issue if Sale and Strider are on the top of their game and they stay healthy. That is a lethal 1-through punch. But Strider, we got to see that he bounces back from the injury. He did not well at all last season, so we'll see 1 year removed. And Sale, he's had these problems in the past, but if you guys have not checked out, we did a couple of prediction videos and some award videos. I mentioned Chris Sale and a hot take also as well. I mentioned Chris Sale. It's in there, so if you haven't watched it, go back to that video. Check out my hot take around Chris Sale. So you'll know that there. But for the rest of this rotation, if they don't stay healthy, along with the lineup, it's going to be, I think, another long season in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit hopeful because as I see this rotation, I think there's going to be spots either with Holmes or Elder that get filled in by either J.R. Ritchie, Cam Caminetti. They got prospects coming up that are bound to crack out and break this major league roster. Obviously, if Schwellenbach and Waldrip are both scheduled to come back in June and July, I was seeing. So if they could weather the storm till then, I think they'll be fine. It just depends what you're going to get out of Sale and Strider. JV, I think it was in our bounce back video he recorded. I think he had Strider. You had Strider, JV, correct, as one of the bounce back candidates for 2026.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that he could put a full he doesn't have to give 33, 34 starts. If he could give 25,
right,
23 to 25 starts, it's a win for them because that's the most he's given in the last few years. So if he could literally give them 25 starts, I think that's a bounce back already.
I absolutely agree with you. And I think Reynaldo Lopez is a very solid pitcher. I think if he could have a healthy year, that's a big if right there. But yes, I do understand where a lot of the injury questions are with this Braves rotation in 2026, more so because we haven't seen a fully healthy year out of all these guys in quite some time. But I do believe the Sale injury, if you look back at it, that was a freak injury that happened with him. I don't think it was something that baseball related with the elbow, arm, or nothing like that. I think it was a rib injury, if I remember correctly. But Grant Holmes, when he was out there, he looked pretty good. He was actually very solid. Elder, I think it's just a number 5 that's waiting to get replaced by one of these young prospects, in my opinion. But let's move on to, I would say, an upside to them, and that's kind of their bullpen for 2026. JV, if you want to talk about it, go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you this. I love the fact that that a lot of bullpens now are starting to mix more lefties into their bullpens. 3 lefties to me, 4 lefties actually in this bullpen is great when it comes to mixing and matching. I like Jose Suarez there. Obviously, Raisel Iglesias and Robert Suarez rounding out the bottom of this bullpen, the top of the bullpen, excuse me, is nice as well. To having the setup man there, stealing him from San Diego. And Raisel Iglesias to me has been a mainstay and a guy that could really lock it down in the 9th. The middle of that bullpen is a little iffy for me. Dylan Lee, Tyler Kinley, and Aaron Bummer. I'm not really too sure what they're going to be able to produce in 2026 in the middle of that bullpen and being the bridge to Suarez and Iglesias. So we'll just see. I think there's a lot of question marks in this bullpen, but there is some upside as well. So I think it's going to be a 50-50 chance that we could see a lot of positive things come out of this bullpen for 2026.
Honestly, this is to me the brightest spot for me outside of the lineup and the rotation. Their bullpen, I really do like it. Obviously, Iglesias, he started off a little shaky last year and then completely found it and went back to form. And he was filthy down the stretch. I love the signing for them with Robert Suarez. They needed a nice 1-2 punch to round out the game in the 8th and 9th. So that could really be a huge, get for them. And they've added some depth to their bullpen now. Obviously, they have the 8th and 9th innings locked down, so they shortened the game to really only 7 innings. So I know they've had issues with the injury bug with their starting rotation, but realistically, if they could find a guy that could round out maybe the 6th or even 7th inning, or at least just the 7th, and that could be a guy like Aaron Bummer, maybe him and Joel Payamps can kind of split that role a little bit. You're turning a game into a 6-inning game for them, and if their starters are anything like what the maximum talent we've seen out of them, then this could be a very dangerous team. And I think I don't want to say it starts with the bullpen, it obviously ends with the bullpen, but in reality, I think the bullpen for them is going to be the strongest suit for this team.
Yeah, I seen the 1-2 with Iglesias and Suarez as a very strong 1-2 in this league. I was actually looking at Tyler Kinley's splits after he left Colorado. Very good, very good. I was actually really impressed with him as he's I would have to say maybe a 6th inning, 5th inning pitcher if it does get out of hand for the starting pitcher. Aaron Bummer, I saw him pitch a lot for the White Sox when he was here, and he has nasty stuff. He's just really never put it together. And Joel Payamps, he blows a lot. So I'm not even going to get into him. That guy's one of my, I think that's in the top 10 of Bruce hated players or disliked in the league. So I don't like him. And I don't care if he doesn't like me, matter of fact, but I don't care. He's horrible. And Hayden Harris, actually pretty interesting. He has some decent stuff. I think he's going to be a good lefty in this pen. Jose Suarez, like JV said, long relief, very solid. This is honestly one of the brightest spots of their team, this bullpen, if it could fully click, like JV said. But now let's move on to the final part of this video, and that is their over-under win total projections for 2026. And it's 87.5 via FanDuel. Sponsor us, FanDuel, if you guys want to. We would appreciate that. What are you going, JV? Over, under?
I mean, I'm a little shocked, guys. I mean, is it just me? I think this is actually crazy that it's this high. 87.5. I'm going under. I think they go 80 and 82. I don't think they go 500. I think there's too many question marks here. I really do. I don't see them winning 88 games. I just don't. So I think they finish under 500, to be honest with you, at 80 and 82. And that's going to finish off 2026. I think the minute they get 2 or 3 injuries to that rotation or that lineup, it's just going to be too hard to overcome, those injuries. And like I said, it put them in the back seat last year in the NL East and in any type of wild card capacity. So I think, again, if they do experience the injury bug, there's no way they're going to sniff 88 wins. So I'm going to go under and say they finish 80 and 82 for 2026.
I honestly completely agree with that. I'm going heavy on the under for them. I don't trust them. I don't trust them health-wise. And the other thing is too, like some of their guys, you're coming off. We're continuing to talk about some of these guys that had monster seasons, and we're a few years removed from that. Some have had health issues, and others just haven't lived up to what we thought they might be. So in reality, that plus the question marks surrounding the rotation, like I mentioned just a few minutes ago, I think that the strongest point is going to be their bullpen as long as that stays healthy as well. I mean, we could say that about everybody, but I'm going heavy on the under here. I see them around 500, kind of what Jay said, that 80, 82, 82 and 80. I don't see them being a real contender. I'll be honest with you. And even at 88 wins, I don't think that makes the playoffs for them either. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that plays out, but I have them heavy on the under.
I mean, I agree with you guys. I'm going the under as well. I think this is a little bit of a ridiculous line, but 80, I don't know. I can't go that low. I mean, this team was plagued with a shit ton of injuries last year. I think they would have to have the worst karma again strike them. So I'm going to go 84 wins for this team. I still think they're going to be a fun team to watch. Acuna, the way that he's been playing with Venezuela has been really fun to watch. Ozzy Albies been doing his thing with Team Netherlands as well. So hopefully this is really going to help the guys get their feet underneath them. All right, get acclimated. So we'll see how it goes. I do think it's a little bit of a ridiculous line. I got to be honest. I was kind of hoping it would be like 83.5 or 82.5 or maybe even 84. But I'm going to go under. I'm going to go 84 wins for the Braves. I just think because they had 76 wins last year. I don't think they're going to eclipse 87. I'll be honest. I don't think so. I'm going to go 84. I think that's my final prediction for their season projection in 2026.
Yeah, listen, I agree with you. And I think if it was a little less, like you said, like 82.5, maybe I do go 83 and they go 83 and 79. And I would have been able to justify that a little bit. But 87.5 is just too high for me. And with everything that you have to take into account, the possibly injuries and the rotation and the struggles, on top of that, I just don't see how they eclipse 87 wins. That's just too much for me. I'm really surprised FanDuel set it that high, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked. I personally, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't trust this team. I think their question marks are too high.
Yeah, I think another thing is for me, especially looking at this team, and obviously health is a big concern. Could they weather the storm while these two pitchers come back, Waldrop and Schwellenbach? If they could weather the storm and somehow be 500 or a little bit below it till they come back, and at that point it's like, what version are you going to get of them when they come back? But I think it's better than anything what potentially Bryce Elder gives you at that point. So if they could weather the storm, man, I think they could win 82, 83, 84 games. I think that's possible, bro. I'm not going to act like this team doesn't have talent. It has a lot of talented players. It's just could they put it all together for one more year, go on a run? Who knows? We'll just have to see. I think that's why they're so fascinating this year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I just think right now the Mets and the Phillies are just, too many steps ahead of them right now. In regards to their rotation and the health, I think the Mets and the Phillies just stay healthier and they produce more, and I think that's going to be tough on Atlanta too. Even if they stay healthy, I think it's too tough. But like I said, they've been plagued the last couple of years with the injury bug, and I think if that follows them, it's going to be a tough 2026 for this ball club.
Yeah, honestly, I completely agree. I see the Mets and the Phillies a lot stronger than them, and they're gonna have the problem. They're gonna have a problem. And you know what? Miami's a little pesky team, even though they didn't, really do anything. I think they're gonna have issues in the National League East. And yeah, it's not a talent thing for me with this team. It really isn't. It's injuries, and if these guys live up to what they, the monster seasons and the career years that they have, everybody, keeps harping on that from a couple of years ago. Well, we haven't seen that. We're a few years removed now. So it's to me with this team, it's now or never. They have to do something.
Yeah, we'll just see how it plays out. Obviously, I think one thing as well, even though they were like low key kind of mediocre and underwhelming last year, they still found a way to steal some games from the Phillies. They still found a way to steal some games from the Mets, the Marlins as well. If they could do that fully healthy, then we're talking about a different ball club. I think that's it's gonna be a fun team to watch. I think even though I do have them taking the under, it's still gonna be a fun team to watch, whichever way you look at it. Because how is Acuna gonna perform? I still believe in him. I had him as my MVP pick in our video, so hopefully he performs to the best of his ability.
Yeah, absolutely. If he can stay healthy, it's great for baseball, not just the Atlanta Braves organization. But he's great to watch day in and day out, defensively, offensively, stealing bags. He's a great talent, and you don't want to see a guy like that go down. Too many games like that. So hopefully he could be a key piece to this Atlanta Braves team for 2026.
Yeah, guys, I totally agree. So now we're going to push it out to you guys watching. If you guys are still here, light up our comment section, whether you agree or disagree with our takes and what you think about the Braves. Maybe you guys have them at a higher win-loss record, or maybe you have them as a lower win-loss record. If that's the case, throw it in the comments. Give us your reasons why. Maybe there's something that we didn't cover. But overall, this is our projections on the Atlanta Braves for 2026. Thanks for hanging out.